What if the world's most disciplined people never relied on willpower at all? What if Navy SEALs, Roman generals, and elite CEOs discovered something that makes discipline automatic? It's been hiding in plain sight for centuries, and you're about to uncover it. What if your brain was never designed for discipline? Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to admit. Your brain actively resists discipline, not because you're weak, but because evolution wired you to conserve energy, seek instant rewards, and avoid pain. Every time you try to force yourself through sheer willpower, you're fighting millions of years of biological programming. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately battle the urge to hit snooze, when you force yourself to work out, when you resist that notification, you're burning mental fuel at an alarming rate. And here's what neuroscience reveals. Willpower is a finite resource. It depletes throughout the day. By evening, you're running on fumes, which explains why discipline collapses right when you need it most. But there's something most people miss entirely. Elite performers throughout history understood a secret that changes everything. They never fought their biology. They engineered their environment to make discipline inevitable. The Spartans didn't wake up every morning and decide to be warriors. Their entire society was designed to eliminate any other option. Discipline wasn't a choice. It was architecture. Sun Tzu wrote that battles are won before the first sword is drawn. He wasn't talking about military superiority. He was talking about positioning, terrain, and systems that make victory unavoidable. The greatest strategic minds never relied on motivation when the stakes were high. They relied on structure that left no room for failure. Here's where it gets fascinating. Modern behavioral science proves the ancients were right. Researchers at Stanford found that environment shapes behavior more powerfully than willpower ever could. When you remove friction from desired actions and add friction to unwanted behaviors, change becomes automatic. You're not building discipline. You're building systems where discipline is the path of least resistance. And this reveals something profound. The Samurai Code wasn't about becoming superhuman. It was about removing decision fatigue. Every morning ritual, every movement pattern, every response was predetermined. Their minds were free because their actions were automatic. They didn't think about discipline. They embodied it. But here's the detail almost nobody catches. Identity precedes behavior. You don't do disciplined things and become disciplined. You become disciplined, and the actions follow naturally. It's not fake it till you make it. It's be it, then live it. And that opens a door most people never knew existed. Why do chess masters never think about discipline? Magnus Carlsen, the greatest chess player alive, processes positions faster than computers in many scenarios. But he's not calculating every move consciously. He's recognizing patterns. After years of training, his brain automated 50,000 position patterns. When he sees a board, solutions appear instantly, not through effort, through recognition. This is how discipline actually works at the highest levels. It's pattern recognition disguised as self-control. When an action becomes a pattern your brain recognizes, resistance evaporates. You're not overcoming temptation. You're operating in a different mental framework where temptation doesn't register. The Stoics understood this 2,000 years ago. Marcus Aurelius didn't struggle with discipline because he eliminated internal conflict. He aligned his identity with principles so deeply that contrary actions felt foreign. When your sense of self is clear, discipline becomes automatic defense of that identity. Your brain protects who you are with far more force than it pursues what you want. And here's where everything shifts. Warren Buffett makes 1 or 2 major decisions per year. Everything else runs on autopilot through systems, filters, and rules he established decades ago. He's not more disciplined than you. He made fewer decisions. His genius wasn't in doing more. It was in eliminating everything unnecessary. Navy SEALs live by a principle they call default aggressive. It doesn't mean violence. It means when in doubt, act. They train until decision-making bypasses conscious thought. In high-stress situations, they don't choose courage over fear. They default to training. That became identity. The action is inevitable because the alternative doesn't exist in their programming. Buddhist monks meditate for hours. not through superhuman discipline, but through environmental design. They removed everything that competes for attention. No phones, no obligations, no choices. The external world supports the internal goal completely. Discipline becomes effortless when nothing opposes it. But the most unsettling part is this. Most people are building environments that guarantee failure. They surround themselves with temptation, then wonder why willpower fails. They try to add discipline to chaos instead of removing chaos first. It's like trying to run uphill wearing ankle weights and wondering why progress is so hard. The ancient military strategists had a saying, terrain determines outcome. If you're fighting on ground that favors your enemy, you lose before you start. Your environment is terrain. If it doesn't support your goals, no amount of personal discipline will compensate. And this leads us somewhere even deeper. How do hackers stay disciplined without ever feeling it? Ethical hackers spend months breaking into a single system. No guarantee of success. No immediate reward. No external pressure. So what keeps them locked in? The answer rewrites everything you think you know about discipline. They operate from curiosity, not obligation. When you're genuinely fascinated by a problem, your brain releases dopamine, not from solving it, but from pursuing it. The investigation itself becomes the reward. Discipline vanishes because you're not forcing yourself. You're following obsession. Medieval alchemists worked in secret for decades trying to transmute lead into gold. They failed repeatedly, but they continued because the quest was the point. They weren't chasing gold. They were chasing mastery, knowledge, transformation. The process was addictive. Discipline was invisible because passion made it irrelevant. James Clear uncovered something revolutionary in habit research. Behavior change happens at 3 levels. Most people target outcomes: the weight they want to lose, the promotion they want to earn. Some target processes, the habits and systems. But peak performers target identity, who they believe they are. Change your identity, and behavior follows automatically. Think about Kobe Bryant. He didn't wake up at a.m. because of discipline. He woke up at a.m. because in his mind, that's what someone like him does. The behavior wasn't separate from identity. It was expression of identity. When action aligns with self-concept, resistance disappears. And this is the layer most people never reach. Every small decision you make is a vote for the type of person you're becoming. You skip the workout? You're not just missing exercise. You're reinforcing the identity of someone who doesn't follow through. You keep a promise to yourself? You're building evidence that you're trustworthy. Your brain tracks these votes, and identity shifts based on accumulated proof. Elon Musk works 80-hour weeks, not from discipline, but from mission obsession. Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, these aren't jobs. They're puzzles he can't stop solving. When you're aligned with purpose this deep, discipline becomes invisible. You're not overcoming resistance. You're channeling fascination. If this resonates with you, hit that like button now. Subscribe to continue this investigation with me. Drop the word flow in the comments and tell me, what would you do every single day if discipline was never an issue? Why is discipline just calibrated desire? Here's the final piece that connects everything. You already have all the discipline you'll ever need. You're just wasting it in the wrong places. You're disciplined enough to scroll for hours. Disciplined enough to binge entire series. Disciplined enough to maintain habits that don't serve you. The capacity exists. The direction is wrong. Neuroscience reveals something fascinating about dopamine. There are 2 types. Reward dopamine, fast hits from social media, junk food, instant gratification, and anticipation dopamine, the feeling of building something meaningful. Most people are addicted to reward dopamine. High performers recalibrated their systems to value anticipation dopamine. When you do this, discipline transforms. You're no longer fighting cravings. You're redirecting them. The same neural pathways that pull you toward distraction can pull you toward creation. It's not about having more discipline. It's about aiming existing discipline at better targets. Ancient philosophers called this alignment. When your actions match your values, friction disappears. When your daily behavior reflects your deepest beliefs, you enter flow state. Time distorts. Effort vanishes. You simply act. This is what people mistake for discipline. It's actually coherence. The Stoics practiced a morning ritual called premeditatio malorum, visualization of obstacles, not to create anxiety, but to eliminate surprise. When you mentally rehearse challenges before they arise, your brain categorizes them as expected, not threatening. Discipline in the moment becomes easier because you already lived it mentally. And here's what separates people who sustain excellence from those who burn out. They love the process, not just the outcome. When you're genuinely curious about how far you can push, about who you can become, about what's possible, discipline becomes fuel, not burden. Think about it differently. You're not lacking discipline. You're lacking a mission worth being disciplined for. You're not weak. You're misaligned. The moment you find something that genuinely matters to you, discipline stops being something you do and becomes something you are. The real question isn't, how do I get more discipline? The real question is, who do I need to become so that discipline is inevitable? Once you answer that, everything changes. Because you're no longer trying to control behavior. You're expressing identity. You made it this far, like this video right now. Subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Comment, ignite, and tell me, what's one thing that, if you did it every day, would completely transform your life?